historic moment in Cuba. Thousands of people across the country seen marching in the streets, voicing their opposition to the Cuban government and calling for change.
Protests of this magnitude has never been seen in the more than 60 years that the communist government has been in power. Here in South Florida, hundreds of Cuban exiles hopeful and showing their support as well.
We do have live team coverage of this historic outcry against the communist government.
We want to start with NBC6 anchor Carlos Suarez, who has the latest on this historic demonstration. Carlos, not just in Cuba, but all across South Florida as well.
That's exactly right, Chris and Roxy. A new day begins in Havana, where the streets are quiet at this hour. While Cuba's leader was quick to dismiss the demonstrations, one of the officials that he appeared with on state-run television this morning suggested that the government is trying to address one of the many issues on the island. Miguel Diaz-Canel was joined by the Minister of Energy in Havana. The two of them talked about rolling blackouts that have hit most of the island in recent weeks, which is why part of the reason why Cubans have protested over the weekend. Now, he also accused demonstrators of sowing division. Here in the U.S., the president expressed support for the Cuban people and called on the regime to, quote, hear their people and serve their needs. Now, the Trump administration imposed a number of strict economic measures against the island in recent years, and so far, the Biden administration has yet to lift them. Now, Diaz-Canel also seemed to walk back comments he made on Sunday calling for supporters of the regime to take to the streets in counter demonstrations. And some of the revolution talked about in his comments, he basically said that he recognized that some folks might not be satisfied, that they might be confused and they don't understand. But he said that overall, this group of people that have been protesting on the island, he said they were misinformed, but he did say that they have a desire to protest. Now, in a statement, the president said in part, we stand with the Cuban people. Their clarion call for freedom and relief from the tragic grip of the pandemic and from the decades of repression and economic suffering. The Cuban people are bravely asserting fundamental and universal rights. Those rights include the right of peaceful protest and the right to freely determine their own future, and they must be respected. The United States calls on the Cuban regime to hear their people and serve their needs at this vital moment rather than enriching themselves. Now, there are reports of widespread internet outages on the island, and videos on social media overnight showed what appeared to be armed government forces driving through neighborhoods. In some of these videos, gunshots could be heard.